Okay, Texas Prepper here. I want to show you how to store some grain using just diatomaceous earth. If you want to, I covered this in another video, but if you want to sprout that grain, if you want to plant that grain, in other words, if you want that grain to make little grains, then you do not want to use oxygen absorbers, dry ice, probably nitropack, nitrogen, anything like that, because it will not, it has been my experience that it will not sprout. Once you extract the oxygen from the bucket, it will not sprout. Okay, this is rye, organic rye. It's not, certainly don't have to buy organic rye, I just did. And when you use diatomaceous earth, you need to wear a mask. And speaking of that, I don't understand all these preppers that won't show their face. Now, Ironhead 41, you can see his face. Yankee Prepper won't show his face. This is a challenge to Yankee Prepper. Show your face. I'm not afraid to show my face. Okay? So I don't understand why some of these preppers don't want to show their face. But anyway, that's a whole nother video. You will need to use about 1 cup of diatomaceous earth. If you're not familiar with it, always get food grade only diatomaceous earth. Use about 1 cup for a 5 to 6 gallon bucket. Now what I'm doing here, the reason, well, let me just show you. I'm going to put about half of it in here. Okay. And this is a 6 gallon bucket. This is a gamma seal. If you're going to store anything in buckets, get you some gamma seals. What it is, this ring here slips on there, or snaps on there. Snaps on the bucket. And then this lid has got a gasket right there, and it screws on the bucket. Okay? So when you open your bucket to take your food out, you can screw it back down airtight. Now, obviously, if you've done nitrogen or O2 absorber, something like that, you're going to have some oxygen in it. But you'll be using, once you break a bucket open, you're going to be using it. So anyway, what I do is put the DE in there in this 6 gallon bucket. I'm going to pack it in a 5 with some mylar. I put it in the 6 gallon bucket, and I just basically give it some good rolls and shakes. And I'm not going to be able to do that with the camera in my hand, but you get the idea. Okay, back and forth, up and down, just make a milkshake. Pretend it's a milkshake. I'm going to turn the camera off, and I'm going to shake it up real good. As you can see, the diatomaceous earth has coated all the grains, and that's what you want. You're going to get a little residue on your hands. You want to try to get it to coat all of it. What I should have done, what I normally do, and I got so excited about talking to you folks that I forgot to do it. Put about, put about 1/3 of your grain in there, and 1/3 of the diatomaceous earth, and then put another 1/3, and then more diatomaceous earth, and then another 1/3, until you get it to where you want it, and then it mixes so much better. So I had to mix it a little bit extra when I realized I hadn't done that. Okay, what we're going to do next is put this in a mylar bag and store it in old Homer here. For that, I'll have to put the camera down for a minute, because I don't have me one of them there 3-legged camera holder upper things. I just don't got one of them, so I need to get me one. So anyway, I'll be back in just a second. Okay, mylar bag in bucket, grain in mylar bag. I'm not going to vacuum the air out like I said. But what I want to do, I will try to get out all the air that I can. So I'm going to seal it with an iron. You do not want any wrinkles in this. You know, you don't want to seal it right here where you got some wrinkles. You want to make it nice and smooth. I'm not going to be able to do this with one hand, so let me iron it part of the way and then show you. Okay, so what I've done is ironed it all the way across using this this dowel rod. And it's best to use maybe you can use maybe a 1x2 or something like that, but I think I have found that the round rod seals better. But you know, it's probably just personal preference. And I've ironed it all the way down to about the end, about 4 inches from the end here. I've left that where we'll try to push the air out of it. Not vacuuming it out. It's always going to have air in it, but I want to take out as much air as I can so I can push the bag down in the bucket, because it's not going to fit if it's full of air. So let me try to do that, and I'll show you what else I can show you. So what I did was just iron across this corner. I had the original seam came all the way across the top, and I just came across the corner and sealed it. You know, made sure I came up to the original seam that I'd ironed, and just basically closed it off. I squished the air out of it, pushed it down as far as I could. I got as much air out of it as I could before I ironed it, and that should be good for 20 years or more. I've got another nearly half a bag. This looks like about 25 pounds of a 50-pound bag. May have been done 30, may not have quite half left. Now, if I was not concerned about sprouting it, if it was rice, if it was pinto beans that you know, all I'm going to do is eat, not plant, then I would have used oxygen absorbers and the dry and the mylar bag. Or if it is something that I'm going to plant, I might just use just the bucket here. I'm not worried about it being food grade, even though this bucket has the little symbol on the bottom that it's supposed to be food grade. I'm really not concerned about that. 5 years from now, if things get bad and you have to eat this, I don't think you're going to be concerned about it being in an orange bucket and without mylar. So, one thing I like about these Home Depot buckets is they have that good seal right there, that black rubber seal. If I remember right, the ones from Lowe's do not. Make sure you're going to get a good seal on it, especially if you're not going to use the mylar. The mylar is another expense. Those bags are probably $2 a piece. Oxygen absorbers aren't that expensive, but the bags can get a little pricey when you pay. If you have to buy the bucket for $2 and the bag for $2, then you know, it just depends on your budget. But do what you can. Try to get some free buckets. Make sure the lids have the ring in it, and if it's a food grade bucket coming from somewhere that you have to clean out that had food in it, I can't imagine that they would not have that seal in it. So I'm sure they would. One more thing, I always label mine as to of course the date and what's in it, but also how it was stored. Organic rye, DE only with mylar. So I know there's a mylar bag in here. I know that I can sprout it because it's DE only. It's not O2 absorber. If it was, I'd put organic rye, O2 absorber with desiccant, or O2 absorber with mylar bag. But label it to where you know what's in there and how it was stored and when it was stored. Okay? I think it's going to be important. Could very well be important someday to know exactly what's in it and exactly, I mean, how it's stored. Could be important. That way you know whether you can. I can go out and sow this rye and get some baby rye, little rye, all right. This time we really are gone.